All right, so we've completed inspections, we've resolved that, we're on to phase two. Phase two, one of the first things that comes up is the appraisal. An appraisal is something that the bank uses to decide that's the amount of money they're going to make the loan based on. So rather than the sales price, they use the appraised price. And so if you're putting 10% down, they're going to loan 90% of whatever the appraised value is to you to buy the home. Based on that, we have in the contract, we have a 5-day period once the appraisal comes in. Let's say that it doesn't appraise. It doesn't come to the same value that we paid for it. It's a couple $1,000s off. We have 5 days to decide how to resolve that, and it's a point of negotiation. We can split that with the seller can make it up, or you can make it up. Sometimes it has very little effect on you, because if you're not putting the minimum down, then it's really not going to affect you at all. If you've got a minimum down payment, you may have to come up with more money if the home didn't appraise. And there are reasons that a home doesn't appraise. It's not saying that the home isn't valued and that that wasn't the right market price. You know, we probably fought for this house and probably had other people who wanted it too. Sometimes looking at appraisals, prices change, and maybe depending on what the comps are, because they're very limited now, we just can't find the right house to compare it to. And as much as anything, that'll have to do with the appraisal. So we will definitely cross that bridge as soon as it comes back and see what we have. Then the other thing you're going to need to do is you're going to need to get homeowners insurance. If you're financing this house or if you're paying cash, you are definitely going to want to have insurance on the home. And we need to make sure that that's going to be effective at the close of escrow, because nobody wants to take possession of a home and not have the insurance on it. So let's make sure we get that done as well during this phase. The next thing will happen is there's going to be a point for us to walk through the home. That's kind of our final walkthrough, and the reason is really to see that the home is in the same condition that you bought it in. And you know, you get one more chance, you can measure or do whatever you need to do at that point. We want to make sure they got all their furniture out and didn't leave a bunch of crud in the backyard that we don't want, right? So that's why we walk through them. The other thing that's going to happen is the title company, there's going to be all sorts of documents for you to sign from the lender. If you're paying cash, there's still going to be documents. They just aren't as extensive, right? But if you have a loan, it is going to be a lot of papers that need to be signed and they need to be notarized. So title is going to arrange a signing once they have worked with the lender and the documents have been generated. We can have a mobile notary come to you where you are. They can go to 2 different locations if that's what needs to happen. But we need to know what's happening ahead of time, because if we're going to be FedExing docs back, it affects the time frame and our close of escrow. We have to allow time for those to come back rather than for those to be done in person. So just let me know where you're going to be on closing and whether we're going to be able to sign them in person or we're going to be sending mobile notaries to you. So we can do that. Then here we go again. There's going to be money for you to send, right? You're going to have money that you need to send for closing costs, your part of the down payment, whatever it is. And let's make sure you have the right wire instructions. Again, you can always call the escrow officer and verify it with them. Last but not least, let's not forget about utilities. We need to get those turned on. You have to get them into your name as of the closing date. And on page 6 of your disclosure, it will always tell you like who the providers are. We're going to know if it's Arizona Public Service or Salt River Project or who it is, or where the water comes from, if it's the city, if it's one of the private water companies. We're going to get all of those. You need to call and set up those accounts with them. You also should be reaching out to your HOA. Depending on the HOA, some HOAs will let you ahead of time. You can get the account all set up and be ready to go, and say if there's a gate, you can get a gate fob, or you know, they're going to tell you how you get access to the community swimming pool or whatever amenities that there are. Some HOAs will want the closing statement and your driver's license, and you're going to have to go in person to present it. Others, or you're going to have to send them copies of that. Others will let you do it kind of ahead of time, and you can order those fobs or whatever you're going to need to get things set up so that you have access easily without having to put a code in every time you come home. So don't forget, we've got utilities and HOA things to take care of too. But now when we get to closing, once we've signed, money has arrived from both you and the lender, then it just has to record, and once it records, I can release the keys to you. So congratulations, at that point, you have a new home.